In this video, a guide to analyze your game and make sense of the accuracy numbers. What do I mean by that? You go to chess.com, you look at Grandmaster game, left 98.5, right 98.3. This is Abduzadorov against Prague. Super Grandmasters, and they have a very good accuracy. But what if it's 99.7? Is that cheating? And you can go to Gotham Chess or Hikaru and have tons of videos, but that's not how it works. The way it works in chess is you have different type of games. So if you have a smooth game, you build the advantage and you never had a bad position, you can have a high accuracy. It's a quiet kind of build up. On the right side, you have an intense game. That's a game I played. I was up. Then black had the advantage below the 0. And at the end, huge advantage. You have intense and a wild game. In this type of intense fight on the right, you can maintain a 98, 99%. No one does, right? Unless you use an engine. On the left, though, if you're controlling the game and you're stronger than your opponent, you're going to have a very high accuracy because you're not tested. You're not really challenged. So in this video, we're going to see how we can build type 1 smooth game. What I mean by that, you take the advantage from start to finish. You are never in trouble. And who are the best to do these kind of games? Who are they? Here you go. On your left, Hikaru Nakamura. On your right, Magnus Carlsen. These are two of the best players in the world. I would say Dingleren belong to that category where they can go take a game from start to finish and control it. Let's see examples. And now, let's see example number 1, Magnus with the white pieces, again Grandmaster Fedosiev with black. Black is playing a very solid opening, the Petroff defense, reputation to be drawish, and black will be happy to draw the game, but we're gonna see how Magnus is a true Grandmaster in a sense that he knows how to build an advantage and never be in trouble. So here, rook e1, bishop f5, this is our theory, knight c3, and we can see that Magnus doesn't mind getting double pawns. Queen d7, knight e5, and here white has a better space advantage. Over here, rook b1. So we can see that this pawn is protected on e5, and we are getting rook b7 threat. So b6 being played by black. And here we go. Magnus grabs a pawn. So here, if you want to play safe, you can play queen e6. And you're going to have an endgame where white going to press. You could also play knight e7 and then queen c4 and white is up a pawn. But in the game here, black decided to play queen c2. The knight here is lost, but black is attacking the rook here. However, Magnus played bishop a3, attack the rook on f8, and still maintain the pressure here. So knight a5 played, and here simply white is up an exchange. h3 comes to mind in order to avoid a back rank checkmate, but Magnus goes for the kill. And in this position, he finishes the game with a very nice queen f7. Of course, black cannot take because this will be checkmate like that. The only defense would be rook g8. But here, you would win very comfortably with white. Let's say over here, queen c7, and then rook d8 with a massive advantage and a sure win. So black resigned the game. Let's see another one. In the second example, Magnus is playing Salem, a player from the Middle East, and they go into a Sicilian defense. And here Magnus decides to play queen d4. It's going to be a much longer game, but Magnus is never in trouble. So if I go quickly with the opening, here c4. And you can see white has a firm control in the center. The game continues. And let's stop here. Black is not in danger of losing, but white has better space advantage, and let's see how Magnus builds up his advantage, never being in trouble. Knight d5, nothing wrong with that move, right? If black takes, we're gonna have a very strong pawn on d5. So black refrains, we exchange pieces, and now we have a beautiful knight on d5. So how to increase the pressure? H4. We want to do H4, H5, Alpha 0 style. The queen here is very well placed because the dark squares are weakened. So again, we're not winning, but black has zero threat. The white king is safe. These rooks are safe. You can take on d5, but the knight is protected. So the game continues, and simply here, pressure on d6. Of course, Magnus is very strong at these types of maneuvering game. And over here, what do we do? H5. Of course, if black takes, we're gonna do queen g5 and win. So then black retreats. What do we do? Black is trying to exchange pieces, but now 96, a super strong knight, and again, the dark squares are the problem for black. The game goes on, and now you need to secure d6. So Magnus played b4. His idea, c5. And that knight here cannot be moved and is so strong, right? At any moment, you may have some tactics like that. You may go with the queen over here. This is very dangerous for black. c5. And here, surprise. I was expecting bishop x5, but no, b5. Now, the bishop retreat and a4. Bishop f7, black is defending, a5. We can see that white is threatening to push and having a very strong initiative. So here, bishop c4. We're targeting e6. Finally, black is trying to exchange that monster knight. And here, queen h3. We threaten h5, but we threaten e6 as well. And there's no good way to defend against these two threats. So black try knight e7, and here we go in. And after all of this patient build-up, how do we finish the game? Feel free to pause the video. There was one more move before black resigned. And the move is rook d8. Such a nice touch. What is the idea? If black takes, I give a check. Only move is to block with the knight, but we lose the queen. Now, on this move, you may just as well, what happened if you do knight g6, then I win the queen. And in the game, I think black tried knight d5, but resigned on the spot. Why is that? Well, you have two ways to win with white. Queen f8, check, and defend the rooks, or simply queen d5 wins as well. So again, you do check, and if the king moves, you are completely winning. So I think this was a very nice conclusion, but the game showed how, after exchanging the bishop, little by little, white increased the advantage, both on the queen side and on the king side. Magnus was never in danger. And now, if you may think that only Magnus Carlsen has a secret touch to build the advantage without being in trouble, well, let's see this game from Hikaru Nakamura played in 2022. So he goes for the King's Indian. And in all of these, the King Indian attack, should I say, the key point is white build the advantage slowly, but never gives a chance for black to attack. And here we have the theory, so black is doing nothing wrong here. This is our theory. And now we simply defend e5. b5, knight f1, b4, h4. And here we can see that we're trying to slowly build an attack against the black king, but it's gonna take some time. So we do h5, we're threatening h6, so black's correctly defends. The knight goes to h2. We're trying to go here, obviously, and have more pressure. So here black play rook e8. Now it was better to do a4 to counterattack. Now white will try to stop, and the game will continue like that. We do knight g4, but if you put this in a strong engine, the engine will tell you that the position is still equal. White is not winning by any means. But here we have rook e8 in the game. So knight g4, logical, bishop f8 to defend h6, bishop f4, the knight comes here, and simply queen d2. And here black has to be very precise. In the game, black tried knight f5. You may think that knight here is going to defend the king, but that knight here can be chased by g3, g4. So instead, it was better to exchange and play bishop b7. Still, you have some pressure over here, but the game goes on. So knight a5, and here very interesting, knight h2. The knight retreats, queen d8, g4. And Hikaru is not afraid to push pawns in front of his king. Knight h4. And here, very important, Hikaru uncorks rook e3. This is a rook lift, and he's threatening rook g3 and g5. Queen retreats, doubling the rooks, rook b8. We can see that black is too slow to prepare counterplay. So white has a free hand. And here rook g3, c4, and here g5. Yes, black should counterattack on the queen side, but we're already threatening to open up the line. Black takes, we attack the queen, and here, very nice touch. Hikaru blocks the play. Queen retreats, queen f4. Just like Magnus is putting pressure on the dark squares. That because he has a pawn here and there's no knight on f6. Therefore, he's trying to attack along all the dark squares. Finally, black plays c3, and here, very common move, b3. a4, we can see that black is trying to drum up some counterplay. But now, if you put that in an engine, this position is +3 or +4 pawns. h6, trying to open up, g6, and finally, h7, and black resign. It's very obvious to me that if you take like this, you're going to have queen f7, the rook is dropping, and you have rook h3. And if the king were to go over here, once again, can come to f7, and this is complete destruction here. So we can see how h6 is a brilliant move and threatening to attack here. Beautiful pieces and piece play by white. So that was another example showing how a build-up, a slow build-up, can, in the right hands, bring you an overwhelming advantage without being in trouble. We can see that Hikaru limited the black's counterplay in the same way that Magnus built up a strong position against the Sicilian and also against the Petroff defense. So that's how, in a nutshell, top GMs manage to build up the advantage and maintain a super high accuracy and control in their games. Feel free to leave your comments, and hopefully you can apply this technique in your own games. I'll see you in the next one.